Since I was a child, I've always been afraid of sleeping in the dark. I remember hearing strange noises in the quiet of the night and feeling the presence of something, or someone, watching me from the corner of my room. Over time, everyone told me it was just in my head, so I tried to ignore the feeling. I was sure it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But after what happened that night, I've never been able to shake that feeling, and every night has become a nightmare. It was just a regular night. I had stayed up late after hours in front of my computer and was exhausted. I lay down, turned off the lights, and tried to sleep. But as soon as I closed my eyes, I felt something strange. A sense of unease took over me, as if the air around me was heavy. At some point in the night, I woke up abruptly, my chest tight, unable to move a single part of my body. I was in a state between dread and paralysis, as if trapped in a nightmare but fully awake. I tried blinking, moving my fingers, but nothing happened. I could only move my eyes, which scanned the room for something familiar. The silence was so profound that I could almost hear my own heartbeat. And that's when I noticed it. In the corner of the room, where the street light cast a faint shadow, there was a silhouette. A dark, motionless figure, standing right next to my bed. The figure had its back to me, but I knew it was watching me, or rather, I felt it absorbing every detail about me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. Fear kept me frozen. The figure moved, slowly dragging itself closer until it was right beside my pillow. I felt an icy chill. A slow, heavy breathing grazed my ear, making every fiber of my body stand on end. It leaned over, as if it was about to lie down beside me. My heart raced as I felt the mattress sink slightly next to me. Whatever it was now lying beside me, like a shadow made real of flesh and bone, but at the same time empty. It wasn't just a presence. It was like a hole in reality itself, something that should not exist. I remained paralyzed, unable to close my eyes, forced to stare at the ceiling while that thing beside me made an uneven, disturbing breathing sound. At one point, its hand, if I could call it that, rested gently on my chest. It was cold and heavy, indescribably dense. And at that moment, I knew that if it stayed there, my heart would stop. In a final burst of desperation, I forced my body to move. I managed to let out a scream, and with that, I broke free from the paralysis. I leapt out of bed, looked to my side, but nothing was there. I spent the rest of the night wide awake, eyes wide open, breathing heavily. When I finally got the courage to turn on the light, I saw that the mattress beside me was still indented, as if something had really been lying there. Since then, every night, I feel a weight beside me, a cold touch that keeps reminding me that whatever it was, it never left, and I don't sleep in the dark anymore. I've always been a good sleeper. I was actually proud of it. While many friends complained about sleepless nights, I was one of those who could sleep soundly until dawn. But since the night everything happened, sleep has been more of a torment than a relief. It was a Tuesday night. The day had been like any other, and I lay down feeling my usual comfort. I spent a few minutes scrolling through my phone before putting it on the nightstand, turning off the light, and settling into my pillow. I felt that familiar, comfortable warmth and prepared myself to drift into my usual deep sleep. But when the silence took over the room, I heard something. It was a whisper, low, unmistakable, like someone whispering my name. At that moment, a chill ran through my body, but I tried to ignore it. Maybe it was the wind outside or even my mind playing tricks on me. I decided to ignore it and closed my eyes. But then the whisper came back, this time louder, and now I could feel it coming from close by, as if someone was standing by the bed, leaning over me. Fear kept me from opening my eyes. I felt frozen, every muscle tense. It was impossible to ignore, and the whisper kept repeating, incoherently, as if saying things I couldn't understand, words that seemed tangled up with my name. I tried to convince myself it was a dream. I was tired, and that could explain the voices. But then, suddenly, I felt the mattress sink slightly beside me, as if someone were lying down with me. I was lying on my back, and the idea of turning to see what it was left me paralyzed with terror. I stayed absolutely still, holding my breath, but the sinking in the mattress grew deeper, and the weight began to slide closer, as if someone was moving toward me, slowly, placing their face right next to mine. I had to open my eyes. With all the strength I could gather, I slowly turned my head. But there was nothing there. The room was dark and empty. No one there but me. The mattress was as it should be, no indentation, and the silence felt absolute. In some way, this should have been comforting, but I knew something was there, something that didn't want to be seen. I couldn't sleep the rest of the night, and when dawn finally arrived, I lay awake, exhausted and uneasy. But the real surprise came when, as I got up, I smelled something strange on my pillow. It was the scent of something damp and sour, as if someone had been whispering there, right beside me all night. Since then, it keeps happening. Every night, I hear the whisper beside the bed, a low voice that seems desperate to keep me awake. I try to resist, but eventually, sleep comes, and the fear that paralyzes me is that one day, I might wake up and see that whatever whispers is truly lying next to me. If you're reading this, please don't ignore any strange sounds before bed. Some things prefer to stay hidden in the darkness. And the worst part is that once you hear that whisper, it never goes away. When I was a child, like every child, I was terrified that something was hiding under my bed. My mother would always laugh and say it was all in my head, and to prove it, she would turn on the light, lift the blanket, and show me the emptiness under the bed. Over time, I lost that fear. Until now. I'm not sure when it started, but it was after a particularly strange night. One of those where you wake up for no apparent reason, with an inexplicable feeling that something is wrong. I sat up in bed, trying to listen for any sounds around the house, but everything was silent. I forced myself to go back to sleep, but as soon as I closed my eyes, I heard a faint noise coming from under the bed. The sound was almost imperceptible, but it was there. Something like breathing, muffled, as if someone was lying right beneath me, trying not to be noticed. At first, I thought it was a dream. I convinced myself of that so I could sleep, but on the following nights, the sound returned. The breathing was constant, as if something were waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. After a few weeks of hearing that sound, I decided to face my fear. The idea of bending down to look under the bed terrified me, but something inside me screamed that I needed to know. That night, I turned on my phone's flashlight and, with my heart racing, bent down slowly, trying to see what was there. My hand trembled as I illuminated the floor, but to my surprise, there was nothing but dust and darkness. But as soon as I got up, something even worse happened. I felt a chill run down my spine, as if I had just missed something. I lay back down, and that's when, in the silence of the night, I heard a laugh. Low, faint, but unmistakable. A laugh coming from under the bed. The sound turned into something else, a guttural laugh that echoed in the room, and I felt the mattress sink slightly, as if someone were crawling out from under me to climb up. I turned off the light and lay completely still, holding my breath, while that presence seemed to move, as if it were about to emerge from under the bed. I felt a cold hand slide under the mattress, as if it was feeling around for me, trying to touch me. I spent the whole night there, not moving, waiting for dawn with a mixture of panic and despair. When the sun finally rose, the feeling disappeared, and I ran out of the room. Since that night, I've slept with the lights on, but every dawn, I feel the mattress sink slightly, and I hear that muffled laugh creeping closer again. No matter what I do, I know something is down there, watching me, waiting for the right moment. Now, every time I go to sleep, I check under the bed, even though I know that when I turn on the light, I won't find anything.